Good morning, lunatics, and welcome to another edition of Morning Java. Morning Java, Carter, as always, brought to you by our good friends at the Get Go Cafe and Market, where you get buffalo tenders.
Is that what we get, Hunter? Is that what we get? We get buffalo tenders?
Really meaty cheesesteaks, better than Philly. We know, like, Pittsburgh does everything better than
shots
Philly
fired
anyway.
at the Philly.
I'll say it.
Yeah, Get Go. We taking out Wawa. That's what we doing out here.
Anyway, excellent food at the Get Go Cafe and Marketplace. Go get you some cheesesteaks. Carter,
What's up?
Super Bowl.
What about it?
There's no segue. It's
There's
just
no
the Super
segue.
Bowl.
It's just
who's going to win that?
Listen,
it's a
man,
big
we
game.
still got a whole nother week. We're going to do this again next week. But fine, let's talk about
Just
the Super
dig in
Bowl.
right now.
We got the Niners versus the Chiefs. The 1 seed versus the 2 seed, but should have been the 1 seed because the Ravens weren't really about that life this year.
Oh,
So
more shots fired.
Let's
This is a
talk-
shots fired episode.
That's not really. So I respect the Ravens, but the Chiefs were going to beat them in the playoffs, and I knew that from the jump.
True.
But let's talk about this matchup. These are two different philosophies because the mantra of the past 15, 20 years in the NFL was the passing league is coming.
Yep.
Everyone's going to throw the ball. Everyone's going to throw the ball. And who's the best at throwing the ball?
Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. And he's leading this offense that looks like it cannot be stopped. They were down 24-0
so filthy.
and won 51-34.
So filthy.
It's ridiculous. But now you're going up against this rushing offense that Jimmy Garoppolo threw 8 passes and completed 6 of them
I love that.
for less than
I love
60
it.
yards. And they won.
It is
When was
amazing.
the last time that happened?
Dude, I don't know. Come on, man. What am I, a stats guy?
It was 1972. Like it was that
You
long.
queued it up. That's
yeah,
crazy.
no, but seriously, Jimmy Garoppolo in that offense of running the football of just like, hey, we're not going to just use zone. We're going to use traps. We're going to use counters. We're going to use this. We're going to use these power plays. They mix up the run game very well enough, and then they still have Greg Kittle to toy with you, and they still have Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel, and all these other guys. There's so much of a balanced attack on that team that it's still heavy on the run. But now it's these two philosophies colliding. Who wins out?
Dude, I love the matchup so much because the Titans obviously gave them some troubles coming in. And
Early on.
The Niners are like supercharged Titans in my mind. Like, that's what they do. They're a running team. They'll rely on their defense. Dude, that defensive front that the
defense that the Niners have is a lot more for real than the Titans. Their run game.
That's vicious.
See, everyone was talking about Rasheed Mostert. It wasn't Mostert doing the work against the Packers. It was the offensive line of the Niners.
Right.
They just opened up these gaping holes, and he was just like, oh, thanks. He wasn't getting touched until 10 yards downfield.
Yeah, you've seen that. Like, you could literally plug and play anybody behind
Jalen
that offensive
Samuels would
line.
have had 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, that's the level that we're talking about, how much they dominated the Packers. One, that's not happening to the Chiefs. They got Chris Jones. They've got Frank Clark. They've got guys up front that are going to not let that happen.
They shut down Derrick Henry, and that's what nobody could do.
Derrick Henry,
nobody
to me,
could do
is
that.
scarier than anything the Niners can present
He
in
just
their
goes,
run game.
Dude, we talked about it before. Tackling that guy, get out of here.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
And Frank Clark got all that heat for talking
First
that
of
smack,
all,
and what
and then
happened?
he delivered
backed it
also.
up.
That may be
That's
the
big
greatest.
time.
That's up there with the Bart Scott post-game speeches.
sure,
You know,
for
just
sure.
the way that he was talking. He was cursing
Dude, that's
and everything.
bold. That's bold.
And now he's like, let's go Niners. Like this is on some level of like Joey Porter when he's like, Joey, Jeremy, talking about that kind of stuff.
Fair. Jeremy Stevens, get out of here.
God, you know that guy got abused by the Steelers for years. Even after that season,
They don't forget.
They let
Players
him know
don't
every
forget.
time they played him.
Absolutely.
So let's not talk predictions. Let's talk about like what our favorites, like what does it feel is our favorite story coming into this?
Yeah.
What are you feeling? What do you like more about either of these teams?
Sure. For me, it's just condensing it down to that classic offense versus defense mentality. Is it going to be the high-flying, high-scoring Chiefs? Is it going to be the gritty, tough defensive forward Niners? Like, what's going to win? It's a class to bring it to like MMA, which you like some MMA, some boxing. It's that classic wrestler versus striker matchup. Like, what martial art is going to win out, offense or defense? So that's what I love about this, is that you've got the Chiefs who could hang 50 on pretty much anybody. But the Niners have been the best start to finish this year. Just consistent defense, shutting offensive down that have been good.
Man, they really shut down Mason Rudolph when they needed James Conner to fumble at the end of the game to barely beat the Steelers.
See,
that was so
I
dominant.
don't even know. Like, my brain can't process that game because, like, the Steelers definitely should have won that game. How?
In San Francisco.
I
With
think
Mason in his
just
first
throw
start.
That one out. That one's too weird. I don't get it.
That's
I don't know how
fine.
to
Be
process
weird.
it.
I don't believe in that. my top storyline is this. Everyone always talks about how Andy Reid can't win the big one. Reid, it's Andy Reid's fault. He doesn't know how to coach the big games. That's not how coaching works. Chuck Noll once said, when someone said, what did you do to help the Steelers win back when he was winning all the Super Bowls? And he said, it's not me.
A few.
It's the players that get the job done on the field. They win and lose the game.
Yeah.
That is what happened with Andy Reid. He is a great assembler of teams and a great coach to get them to the position to have a chance to prove themselves. The problem is he's never had the quarterback. Don McNabb was the closest thing he's had to a real quarterback to carry him over the top. Yep. And he just wasn't that guy, especially to beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl that year. This is the closest he's had. And people were ready, and this is my thing, people were ready to throw Andy Reid out after, midway through the Texans game.
Absolutely.
Because they were up 24-0. Meanwhile, it was a fumbled punt, and it was a blocked punt, and it was two straight drop third down passes by players that normally catch third down passes, and on-point throws from Patrick Mahomes. Those aren't coaching problems.
Right.
Those are, hey, these guys weren't executing in the moment, and eventually they got in the position to, and they did.
Funny how that works. It works itself out eventually at the highest level.
Coaching gets blamed for way too many things in the NFL, but I think the big story here is if Andy Reid can finally get a ring, people can finally shut up about how bad of a coach he was and how he couldn't win the big one and show, listen, he finally got some guys he can win it. Will they?
Yeah.
Find out next week.
We're going to find
on
out.
Morning Job.